Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to Off the Beaten Path. I'm your host, Reverend Hagen. This is a show about the paranormal. Today we're looking at another paranormal event in history. It's the Lady of Fatima, or the Fatima incident, that happened in 1917. Basically what happened is the Virgin Mary appeared over the town of Fatima in Portugal on May 17th, 1917. Which in and of itself is fairly remarkable. This was after over a year of visitations from these three shepherd children by an angel and the Virgin Mary. They had started visiting these kids, apparently, these three shepherds, as they were going about their duties in 1916. And then in November of 1916, they stopped for whatever reason. And the children let everybody know that the Virgin Mary was going to be coming back for everybody to see on May 17th of the following year, 1917. So thousands of people gathered for this thing. And sure enough, the Virgin Mary appeared in the sky. For the Catholics involved, and for the Christians involved, it was the ultimate affirmation for their faith. The Mother of God, the Virgin Mary, has appeared. One of the reasons this is a paranormal case and not strictly a religious case is because not everybody saw the Virgin Mary. Boats that were over 100 miles away saw a disc in the sky. People saw the sun dancing around the sky, not just on that day, and not just when Mary appeared on the 17th, but the following day as well. There were strange people in town that didn't seem like people. So, was this really Mary? Was this really Mary appearing? Well, according to the Catholic Church, it was. The lady in question, Mary, gave her three disciples, these three, I don't know, I call them disciples, but these three children, three different prophecies. I'm not going to get into the prophecies because to me that's kind of beside the point. The crazy thing was, though, is two they told right away. The third one, the Virgin Mary wanted this told in 1960 by the Pope. She was apparently very specific in her presentation to these children. But the Pope at the time, when 1960 rolled around, said, "This doesn't have anything to do with me," and bumped it back against the wishes of the Virgin Mary. Hello, but he is the pontiff. He is the voice of God on earth. So if you believe in that kind of thing, he bumped it back to the year 2000. And it basically was that prophecy, just to give you a taste of it, was of the Pope bowing before a cross, but he was kind of bloodied. It was about the death of the Pope, basically, dying in front of the cross, which we know did not happen in 2000. A lot of people think the prophecy had to do with 9/11 and all the tragedy that happened then. But that's the thing with prophecies, is that once you know them, you can fit a lot of things in to fix them. I'm not saying that that's what happened, but that's what I see with a lot of prophecies, whether it's Nostradamus or modern prophets or whatever the case may be. Some of the paranormal theories about this is that it was actually a UFO, that a UFO appeared. And you may be saying, well, what about the visitations of this angel and of the Virgin Mary? Well, a lot of UFO cases involve multiple, not just abductions, but when something appears, when there's going to be a larger event, things will appear to let you know that this is coming, like aliens. And this, like I said, this is just one of the theories. But aliens will appear, let you know this big event's going to happen. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Also happened in the Mothman sightings in Mount Pleasant, where the Mothman apparently told a couple of people, "Hey, these disasters are going to be happening," and then they would happen, but they would happen on the other side of the world or in South America, not in West Virginia where this was. And then, of course, the horrible bridge collapsed in Mount Pleasant, killing quite a few people, which was very sad. But I digress. So one of the theories is that it was a UFO. Another theory is that what people were witnessing is an interdimensional event. Believe it or not, people actually thought that this was something coming through into our dimension, which sounds a little far-fetched, sure. Science does tell us that there are wormholes out there. The theories about UFOs, that they're not just ships from another planet, but they're actually from another dimension. That particular theory, they're not called extraterrestrials, they're called ultra-terrestrials. Dun, dun, dun. And the three, once you jump down that rabbit hole, there's so many different theories, even about the different kind of aliens. So your classic grays, right? The little gray guys that a lot of people have seen over the years, apparently. There's the reptilians, hello, thank you very much, that seem to be kind of bent on our destruction, not really nice guys. And there's also the Nordics, and since I'm of Norse heritage, I think that's kind of cool. These giant, blonde, warrior, peaceful-looking guys that are supposed to be helping mankind. So, once you jump down the alien rabbit hole, you're opening the box to all this stuff. It also could have been an atmospheric event. It could have been something entering the atmosphere, which is what one scientist held to pretty hard on Fatima. The problem is that it was stationary for a long period of time, this light. And I've thrown pictures up as I've been talking. But if you look at the shape, it's not of the actual pictures of the event. It's a shape like this kind of thing. Sort of. Almost like Our Lady of Guadalupe, where there's an outline and then there's the Virgin Mary, and sometimes she's holding the baby and sometimes she's not. Same kind of thing going on with Fatima. What was really fascinating too is while this event was happening, not only did people see the sun dancing around in the sky, like I said, which is really bizarre, but they also saw a lot of euphoric lights in the sky. So again, just like with the Tunguska blast, nobody's questioning in these two events that we've covered so far that something happened. Something clearly happened in Tunguska. Something clearly happened in Fatima. Thousands of people saw this. People saw this from 100 miles away. Fishing boats saw the light in the sky. So it wasn't just a religious experience for a lot of the people there. Now, for the people that gathered to see the Virgin Mary, some I'm sure were just curious, but so many in that part of the world too are Catholic and devout, and that had to be a very moving experience for them. Personally, I don't think it was the Virgin Mary. I know that might be sacrilege to some of our Christian and Catholic viewers, but I don't buy it. But the crazy thing is, it's not because it's illogical. Because there's, in my experience, my 52 years on this planet, there are so many weird things that happen. The two events that we've talked about so far, the DNA strand, the quasars, quantum physics, period. And if you want to know more about quantum physics, the Quantum Physics for Dummies, it's pretty much what the bleep do we know. Great show. But the more off the wall the cases are, and the weirder, to me, the Virgin Mary appearing in Portugal is kind of off the wall. The better. My favorite UFO case of all time is this case, and I'm going to get it right because I don't want to screw this up. It's called the Eagle River Close Encounter. Okay, now I first read about the Eagle River Close Encounter in the Illuminati trilogy by Robert Anton Wilson, right? Talked about this case where this guy is fed pancakes by aliens, and they're the best pancakes he ever had. And I thought, well, that can't be real. Well, I looked it up, and it is real. It's the Eagle River Close Encounter. Basically what happened, this guy Paul Simonton, is sitting down. He sees a UFO land with a ring of windows around it, little depressions. He can see people inside that appear to be making pancakes. They come out and ask him for a glass of water, which he gives them, and then they give him these pancakes. It's one of the few cases that the Blue Book organization, through the U.S. Air Force, took a look at and couldn't explain. It was one-on-ones they left unexplained. They did not write this off. The other curious thing about this is this ruined this guy's life. For him to come forward and say, look, you're not going to believe this, but sitting down and aliens made me pancakes. They took the dishes and then they left. They were delicious. Nobody's going to believe that. And yet, they believed this guy. It ruined this guy's life to tell everybody, but he felt it was his duty. Remember, this is April 18th, 1961, if I haven't said the date before that. So, this is when people still believed in our government. They still believed the right thing to do was to report something weird that happened and that the government would take care of us. That was still a thing. Can you imagine such a thing today, that you believed what the government was saying, and that you trusted them, and they would take care of you? Well, that's where this guy was coming from. And the media and everybody, they just destroyed this guy. But it's never been debunked. So it's my favorite UFO case of all time, the Pancake case. So you may be asking yourself, okay, you've rambled quite a bit, Hagen. What do you think? What do you think Fatima was? This one, I have no idea. I kind of like the idea. I'm a pagan, all right? I'm a Wiccan priest. And so for me, it would be the goddess showing herself to these people. But I don't think she would. It's a very Catholic area. So if it was a vision of a goddess, it would be the Virgin Mary. I tend to go more for the UFO thing. Why they picked Portugal and Fatima, I don't know. Why do they pick people out of the middle of nowhere? I don't know. There's all kinds of really cool cases about an entire Alaskan Eskimo tribe disappearing. All the people, they're gone, right? This is back in the 50s. The entire clan just disappears. There's stuff cooking on the stove. Or not, I don't think they had a stove, but there's stuff cooking over the fire. Their dogs are also gone, and the bones of their ancestors. Other than that, everything just looked fantastic. So I don't know why they pick these really isolated areas, especially if it's the Virgin Mary. You think she would, if she wanted to be seen by the masses, she'd appear in New York. But she didn't. Apparently she appeared in Fatima in Portugal. So that's our show. Really, really, really hope you enjoyed it. Please hit subscribe and like below. I want to give a shout out to Ghost Crier, who's I'll leave their link below. Another really cool paranormal investigation team. Also, I want to give a shout out to my son, Prepped Ghost. He has his own channel here. He's a gaming kid, so he does all kinds of videos for gaming. And some pretty goofy videos too. It's a blast to watch. So please look for his link below too, and make sure you subscribe and like to him. Subscribe and like to Ghost Criers, because those guys are pretty awesome. A lot of fun videos. And as always, you keep those heads up, my brothers and sisters. Until next time, goodbye.